everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Trinergy Awakens Naturally, and we're giving all new meaning to car talk. So much stuff comes in when I'm driving, but this one started when I woke up. So, of course, we're going to go for a hike and talk about it on the way. And also, I'm noticing that apparently I'm giving the homage to the 50s. I'm like doing a Cherelle or something, one of the rondettes or something. So, whatever this bouffant thing is out of my face. So, anyway, I woke up this morning and I was just percolating, what are we doing today? I wonder, as far as my spiritual growth, what's coming up, because it's busy. It's the time of spring equinox and Easter. It's roughly that time of 2024. However, if it applies, it applies, and if it don't apply, let it fly, that kind of thing. But it's busy. There's a lot going on of rebirth and many new layers of stuff coming and going. And so I like to relate that to my personal life because that's how it relates to me. That's how I usually get a lot of information is, remember when, this is how this applies now, Kate. Get it and pick it up quickly, friend. So I pass that on because I'm certainly not the only person that's ever missed a cue or two. And I like to help people prevent making similar mistakes if I can at all help it. They're willing to hear the information, now I'm willing to share it, because I only wish that I had been given the correct information about what I was seeing, until it got to the point that I could not possibly ignore it anymore. That this is abuse, this is over the top, and you really must remove yourself immediately lest you get yourself killed. It got to that point for me, and so what I want to relate to you today is a story of straight up kidnapping. Now, I know because I spoke to these people involved and they of course denied it, but when I called it kidnapping, it was straight up kidnapping because it was. I was with some family members who I don't talk to anymore, because if you can't pick up that that's what that was, then I can't play with you anymore, because you're gonna kill me one day for realsy. And freaky enough to not pick up that you're not allowed to do that just because we're related or just because you think you have the right to. Abuse is abuse, and it doesn't matter if I feel like I'm entitled to do it or not. I'm not. There's no scenario where abuse of any kind is okay, and definitely kidnapping, like, oh, these people done lost their mind. So anyway, I was with family and I was already starting to really run into problems with my family, because I was the doormat for years. I was the designated scapegoat, and I played that role, and I was a pain in the butt, and I mean, we did this whole codependent toxic thing. I just didn't know that narcissists, when you want to pull away and leave, they're gonna really be upset. You're gonna upset the apple cart, as it were, and be running for your life before it's all over with. So anyway, we were in the car going on this vacation, just the ladies, only a few of us, and these were people older than me, one a matriarch and her daughter, and older than me, like obviously the matriarch. The daughter was only a couple of years older than me, but that was that person's mother over there in the right seat of the car, that we'd gone on vacation. We had driven there to this spot, just the three of us, and I was already a little bit like, okay, because someone else in my family that I was very close to, and just had a great kinship to, I was not doing well, wasn't feeling well, kept having a lot of problems and with her health, and I just kept saying, please get this checked out, please get this checked out. And it took that person a little while to be taken seriously by the medical establishment. And just so happens that while I was on this vacation, this girls' weekend, witch weekend, where you're gonna learn a lot, Kate, that it was during that weekend that this other person got sick and needed to go to the emergency room, and they discovered, there's a real problem here. But she was in intense pain, and somebody I really care about a whole lot more than I care about these people I'm playing vacation with, honestly, because it was deteriorating quickly. Every time I opened my mouth to have an opinion or state my boundaries, I was just pissing these people off, and it was getting more and more uncomfortable. But I guess this was some weird last-ditch effort to, bring us together or something. I don't know what it was. I was complicit in it, so it's okay. I was there by choice until I wasn't. But I got a call from this other another family member and said, you know, I'm in the emergency room, this is really painful. And I immediately, you know, my mom instincts go into play that this is something else where this person needs support. They need to have some, you know, adult supervision there, because she's young, an adult, but a young adult. And I'm like, I'm not sure that she's getting everything she needs, and let me be there, because I can take on that role, and I need to take on that role. And I didn't feel like I needed to explain to these other people who are also connected family members. We were all by blood connected, but I didn't feel like I needed to explain anything. Like, look, I gotta go. I don't care if you understand. We were far enough away that we had driven, as I said, and for me to drive back home to support this other person, I was going to need to drive back home. But I didn't expect the person who'd used their car and driven me to do that. I just said, look, I'm going to get an Uber or something. There's some way to get off, you know, this little island that we're on. You know, we're not in Timbuktu. We're not someplace where I have to take, you know, a rocket or something. I'll figure it out. And they're like, there was all the reasons why, oh, you know, well, what are you going to do? And, you know, all this stuff coming in. And I'm thinking, what is your problem? I have a priority. It's not you, and it's not whatever your butthurt is with me about wanting to be with someone else that I really have more of an attachment to, more of a concern for, and have more of an obligation in my mind to, that I fulfill, and a responsibility to, that I wish to fulfill. And it's not you, and I don't care what you're going through about your emotion. You're not in an emergency room. And when I started saying, you know, some things like, I don't understand what your problem is, it was like, well, you know, she's just being a hypochondriac anyway. And I'm like, no, I know there's something more with that, and it's, you're part of the problem, and I definitely need to go. I'm just going to get an Uber and to the rental place, and I'll rent a car to drive the 3 or 4 or 5 hours, whatever it is, to get back home. And I was just explaining myself, and I finally said, look, take it or leave it, you know. Well, I guess we'll all leave. And I very blindly, ignorantly, and stupidly, honestly, I knew that, oh, this is highly uncomfortable. This is going to be one of those rides that's, you know, 5 hours of somebody who feels like they're, you know, having to leave what they're doing because of me, when clearly I've said, I'm happy. And, well, that's just stupid. Why would you do that? I mean, this whole thing of trying to shove it back my direction, and really, I don't care what your problem is. I'm just trying to get back home so that I can take care of what I'd really rather be taken care of, which isn't you and your weird dialogue and your butthurt. Stay here and enjoy yourself. Do whatever, talk smack, do whatever you need to do. You know, brew a weird Google magic witch brew for all I care. I'm not here to do this. I got other priorities, and it's not that. And so, you know, that would have been the clue, was the clue of just separate, go do your Uber thing and work out all these butthurt feelings later, because we have a medical issue that 3 months later, this person was having an emergency surgery for an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. So it wasn't that either one of us on that side was wrong about what was going on with this young woman. So, you know, I'm like, you gotta leave me alone. But I got in the car, ignorantly, blindly, trying to, you know, well, I'll just lessen this from being the cluster that it already is. I'll just go ahead and go along with it, despite the fact that, you know, listen to your instincts, Kate, because what ended up happening was this person was so furious that kidnapping ensued when, you know, I tried at some point, or she did, I have no idea, that, remember, her mom's sitting on the passenger side in the front. She's driving her car, so, okay, and I'm in the back seat. It's just the 3 of us, and this is something that's, you know, pretty common, that, you know, that threesome was left together to their own devices quite often, and I was quite often uncomfortable because it always seemed very lopsided, but whatever. That was my choice to be there. I'm just giving you the after-action review, as maybe, you know, if you're in a similar situation, you can learn from my big old giant mistakes. But at some point, there was something started, some dialogue started. Either I was saying, you know, I'm sorry that your butt hurt, or whatever. I mean, I was truly, you know, whenever it got addressed, however it got addressed, my side or her side, I really was trying to diffuse the situation and say, look, I'm sorry that you don't really feel like you can stay there, and that you're feeling angry that you need to leave. That's not what I was intending to do. My priority is not you. That is not appropriate. It is more appropriate over here that I put my attention, whether you understand that or not. And that just angered this person to the point she started screaming. I mean, outright screaming, screeching like a person off their wall. I mean, off the wall, off their nut, just absolutely losing it. And I was concerned about safety at that point that, no, we're done with the gaslighting. You've launched into stupid where I just can't even support this anymore. I said, stop this car, pull this car over, and let me out. We're on the highway, blah, a million reasons. And meanwhile, the speedometer is reaching 90 plus. And I said, no, stop this or I'm calling 911 and calling in a kidnapping. Meanwhile, the mother of this grown woman who's a couple of years older than me, all right, and you see, okay, mature woman, that the mother sat on the passenger side with her hands over her ears, just la 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 la, like literally. It was such a visual that I almost lost my mind with, are you kidding me? These are people that I've known my entire life as family, and this is what you end up being when somebody tells you no, like for real tells you no. That I've never pushed back this hard. However, when I started seeing that you're making you a priority over someone who's in an emergency room that ultimately is going to end up needing emergency surgery to save her life, and I already know that intuitively, and apparently so did she, but you are losing your mind and not seeing the perspective of what's most important. You're not looking down the road at all because you're so trauma bonded with each other, and we're done being trauma bonded, us as a threesome or as a twosome, either way, that this whole triangle weird shit is over, that I'm done, and this is how you go with this, is that this is far more sinister, narcissistic, toxic, and sick than I can imagine. And it just blew my mind that I can't believe that I have old people, like over the hill people, way over the hill one, and over the hill just like me, that you can't come up with something better. Yet ironically, both me and the person that I was going to support were both labeled crazy and were designated as such, and that was always, anytime either one of us, however, I'll only claim me, that every time that I said, no, this is really something that's your problem, it was always gaslit back my direction, that it's just, you're crazy, you're stupid, you're not seeing things, you're so out of control, you're so this. And I guess Spirit had to bring it so much to me that you want to see how much this isn't really so much about you, and it's not about shifting blame and saying I never had any accountability anywhere. However, that was clearly that, no, we're not playing this game anymore, because this is some bullshit where you're out of control. You can't even see that you're out of control, and you're willing to take the life of yourself, two other people in this car, and anybody else that you just smash into because you're that far gone that you can't get a hold of yourself. And I'm the crazy one. You're not ever doing this to me again. And I never got in the car with that. Well, actually, I think I did one more time, and must have been that angels were riding with me. My God, I can't believe I didn't quite see. I'm just now remembering how that came down. That the next year, I thought, things were better, and I was still heading on my way out with you. I'm pretty done with having anything to do with you people. But that person that was driving and literally holding me hostage, she finally calmed her ass down, slowed down, and we made it where we were going so that I could get back home. Wow, a Chinook is going by. You don't see those very often. That's a big old giant helicopter. Wow, how ironic. Yeah, for a lot of reasons. Anyway, that later, about a year later, I ended up at that person's house because they were going to give me a ride, ironically enough. Oopsie, I don't know when that cut off, sorry. My timer went off, but I'm not sure when it cut off. But anyway, it was about a year and a half, maybe a year later, that I was taking a ride from her because I wasn't driving at the time, and I wasn't listening. Man, talk about not listening to your intuition and your spirit and stuff. But I figured certainly after we had that last hostage situation, it's not going to be like that again. For her to give me a ride somewhere, for a medical procedure that I'm having done, certainly it won't be that. And it wasn't that. It was that she came at me physically and tried to attack me after calling me the devil. And okay, you're not coming? Okay. I'm sorry, we had some issues with who's going to be in front here. Guess I'll take the lead, thank you. That she came at me physically and tried to attack me while accusing me of being the devil. And that was the last time I was like, you are just beyond unstable, that no matter how much I love people or, am committed and passionate about relationships, and I don't just dump and run, I'm not a quitter. And that was my problem, is that see what you see and see the potential and that nugget of goodness, feel all kinds of Anne Frank about it. However, see that when it's Hitler, no matter what Hitler could have been, It's what he was and what he was doing and what he was being for realsy out here. It doesn't matter what he could have been, because he chose to be what he actually was presenting as. And when this woman and her mother showed me again and again that you got freaky eyeballs that just belie what's really happening in there, which is unstable. However it's cataloged, if it's demonic, if it's, possessed, if it's evil, if it's, a personality, however anybody wants to go, whatever direction, really mattered not. Because, like, I don't care what anybody calls that, or if anybody else believes it. If there's somebody that's willing to put me in danger because they've already lost their mind enough, they're willing to put themselves and me plus anybody else in that blind rage, just can't see, can't pass the moment of you're out of control, and there's somebody there desperately seeking to de-escalate that, and this person wants to just bring on the heat that much that you're, oh my God, you want smoke with something that you're going to want smoke and have smoke. If you kill me and 3 other people, but not yourself, you're going to get it one way or another. What is wrong with you? And I don't want to be there anymore, that when it finally cracks and I'm not the target the next time, I may not be the target the next time, that it's going to crack and I'm going to be taken down just because I'm with somebody who's a clown and can't hold their emotions, can't keep themselves in check, especially when I am turning into my own crazy person, trying to deal with, this feels really unstable to me, and yet when I say something, they're telling me I'm crazy. How is it that a crazy person can maintain their shit in a car while somebody's holding them hostage, going 90 plus miles an hour, screaming like a lunatic, weaving and getting out of control, and have to threaten, I'm going to call the cops, to come get this, is going to get uglier than it already is? How is it that I'm the crazy one if I can maintain my shit and not lose it completely, but you're the one telling me how crazy I am? That broke down very quickly after that, we didn't talk a whole lot after that, and then a year and a half later or so, when she came at me physically to cause harm to me after accusing me of being the devil, and there was no provocation on that. I simply asked a question out of curiosity about how's that work, and it was something that triggered her, but I had no idea that was going to be her trigger. That was also Spirit saying to me, how many more of these do you want to engage in before you bug out and get out of here and stop waiting for people to show you their potentiality, their Christ-like energy? How long do you want to wait? Do you want to risk your life? Do you want to risk your limb? Do you want to risk being homeless again over, a home being sold out from underneath you because people are dirty and willing to play quite dirty when they're traumatized and when they're in their, gaslighting and dark phase? Are you going to wait some more for that to turn into something where you are just dead all the way? Or are you going to get this? And it was hard because I had been very much steeped in that whole, but this is family, this is your so-and-so, this is your so-and-so, you're supposed to, like, I don't care, anymore. And that's why I'm saying, not to be cruel, I don't talk to those people anymore. However, I'm not going to keep lies in my mouth about what my own experience was. I don't need to name names because it was already tried, that I tried to fix it with them. And so, the counterbalance of that is not to go and say, well, those specific people, because it doesn't matter. Those specific people live in everybody's lives somewhere. It's just a matter of how far away are they from you. And if you're vigilant and diligent, you keep them far away from you, because it doesn't take very long to find somebody who's in their monster energy, especially now when people are tapped to, what are you going to find out about yourself? Are you going to go into the best places of yourself? Or are you going to continue hammering down into the worst places of yourself, despite the fact that that is not happening anymore the way that it used to? You're naked and we can see you. And when people can't handle that and they're not willing, then as much compassion as I do have, and I have a great deal of compassion for somebody that's that traumatized, either one of them, or the, driving like a freak. I have a great deal of compassion and empathy for that. However, I can't have so much empathy that turns into codependency that there's nothing I can do to fix that or make it better except put a hard line of, that's some bullshit, and no, we're not doing it anymore, because apparently you don't need me. You don't need me to do anything except leave you to be, because you're not going to learn any way at all that I'm bringing. And if you're going to learn, it won't be for me to sit there and continue to allow you to do that with any kind of measure that it's okay. You just bullshit your way out of it, gaslight me, or bully me, or tell me some other fantastic story that I believe for another, 50 years. How many years do I think I have left? They're not likely to get any kind of education or remedial rehabilitation with me still sitting there supporting it on any level, or putting my stamp of approval. Even if it's a stamp of disapproval, I'm still there playing that, and they're not listening anyway. So the best way that there could be some help or redemption or anything for those people is for me to walk away and be as kind as possible while I do it. However, putting it out there that nobody needs to know my specific, details of who and where and when. However, the specific details enough to know that if you got somebody doing that kind of stuff, friend, run, rabbit, run, and leave it with as much kindness, dignity, and grace as you can. However, that's dangerous, and people are just off the charts with their emotional stability is in question in a lot of places. You see it on the rise, and people that used to be very much seeming like they could keep that stuff in their, keep their shit in one sock, they're not doing it so well anymore, and they're showing us. And please, if it helps you to hear that, please take that for whatever it's worth, and recognize, smaller signs when they're coming. And may you never find yourself being held hostage in a car, or have somebody coming at you because you asked a question that you had no idea was going to be triggering, because it wasn't your intention to be doing that, and it wasn't even remotely something that you would have been able to intuitively understand would have been triggering. So whatever that means to you, I hope it's helpful to you, and I hope you enjoy your day, whatever part of the day you're in. And remember, get within your skin, because you're divine. Whoa, baby, it is so fine, and it can tell you every single time when somebody is not quite right. Especially now, it's a very intuitive time, and it's going to continue to be. The more that we reach for divinity, heaven and earth is bridging and becoming one, the more we're going to be able to see people as they're butt naked in the sun. So take care, as I said, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye, friends.